Yes, 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 yes. Do I have my mic on? Turn my mic on. Hold on 1 second. Yes, 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 yes. Do I have my mic on? Turn my mic on. Got my mic on. Mhm. All right. All right. Let me see. Let me see. Okay, Pablo, the first one in the chat. Shout out to you. Shout out to you, man. First one in the chat. My man Kenneth Crouch is hanging back. We're gonna bring him on in just a second. All right, let me see. Let me see. What we doing? What we doing? Okay. I'm about to bring you up now. Cool. All right. My good brother.
Good brother Luck.
Hey man. Uh First of all, good afternoon. I do want to say that. Good afternoon first.
Good afternoon to you, good sir, and good brotherly Friday unto you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good Friday. Good Friday.
Yes, sir.
Um, I'm really looking forward to it's two things I do when I first bring somebody online, right? One, I want to say I'm really looking forward to this conversation for a couple of reasons.
Right.
One, you're an awesome human being. I must say that first,
Much
right?
appreciated. And you as well.
And I'm so excited because we recently got to have a little powwow, a hangout, which we'll
Yeah.
talk about in the conversation.
Yeah.
And that conversation, I think, was the perfect setup for this, what we're doing today.
Absolutely.
I think, though I was trying to interview you, I reached out to do an interview. I'm glad it went the way it went because it's a
Right.
much better framing
Right.
for what we're going to do I would think for the continuation of our friendship.
Absolutely. It's very
And
honest.
yeah, and I think it was a beautiful thing. So that's one thing I want to say. That was a really cool how organically that went down, right?
Copy. Yeah.
Another thing I have to say is I always have to give my friends, my creative partners, my just people I admire and I look up to their flowers first, right?
Wow.
One, with you being an amazing human being,
Mm.
you're also a ridiculously talented individual. um,
I'm
um,
ridiculously blessed and fortunate.
Come on now, come on now.
That's what I am.
Yes, you are. And I had the pleasure of meeting you through a mutual friend of ours, Mr. Terrence Martin,
Terrence
who
Jamal Martin. Yes, sir.
is another blessed
Yeah.
and talented individual. Um,
Indeed. Yep.
and I mentioned to you that I remember meeting you, and I remember the first time I saw you play.
Hmm.
You were playing at this a spot called the Red, White, and Blues in
In
Pasadena,
Pasadena. Yep.
right? And I told you how your fingers on the keys were like dancing, right? And
Pirouettes on the
you
key.
yeah, you're right, your fingers just dancing,
Yeah.
and you went into the zone.
Which I did.
And now we speak about that zone
Mm.
when we went to our hangout, right? We spoke about that
Mhm.
zone that close your eyes, go to the zone, which I want to get
Mhm.
into also. But I
Mm.
do want to say, man, you've done amazing things
Mm.
as a music lover and
Mm.
a fan of just all genres of music.
Mm.
Your work is incredible. You've done amazing things. You lived a life. All our lives have ups and downs. There's struggles. There's low tides. There's high tides. But you lived.
Trust me.
You
Trust me.
know,
I'm in. You know what? I'm currently in the crest right now, so I
right,
get it.
right. Because that's
I know you
life,
get that.
right? That's the reality of
Yes.
life. And these
Yes.
conversations are for those moments to get to the
Yeah.
real beneath the surface of what we're actually doing here while we
Right.
exist in this realm, in these bodies,
Right.
in these vessels while we're here on this earth. So I have to give you your flowers, man. You're an amazing human being. You've done amazing work. Your work speaks for itself. You're talented. You're talented. But most importantly, I think not only are you talented and a gifted human being, but your personality, who you are in your spirit is what it's what really gets you over the the point of return, not the point of no return, the point of return, right?
Wow.
In this business, it there's tons of a-holes, right? And
Tons.
there's tons of people who are dark, you don't want to work with, all kind of things going on.
Right.
And when you're just cool or nice or you know what I mean? People want to have you around, and it
Yeah,
drums up so much more business. You know what I mean?
right,
And
right.
yeah, man, I just gotta
It's
give you
nice to
flowers,
be
man.
nice.
You're awesome, and I'm honored to have you here today to
And
speak
man,
with me.
it's absolutely reciprocal the way, like when you called me the other day. The good thing about good conversations and stuff like that is, even though it's been some time that we had last seen each other, it's like picking up where you left off. So that lets you know that it's of quality. And
Yeah,
like the conversation that we had, and like how we were just a thousand different subjects in an eternity of subjects in a split amount of time, and just the dancing synapses that in the myelin and the synapses going on. And I know you know what I mean when I say that, and
peace. There you
it's
go.
cool because
You
it's like
froze. You froze. You said 1,000 different subjects, and then you froze. Now, okay, what happened?
I said a thousand like different like synapses going
Yeah,
on,
yeah,
you know, and like how we were talking, it's like, and it sounds kind of scatterbrain. That's the thing that I kind of worry about at times. I'm like, okay, it's a scatterbrain, but when you have somebody who's on the same kind of uh, creative sort of tier, it's like, okay, cool, my tribe. You don't have to
my
over explain
tribe.
it. You know, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I felt the same. I remember I was telling you when we were hanging out. I said, man, I said you remind me of me. I kept saying that because certain thing you were saying or certain thing you were doing about even that kind of like not a warning, but just like a kind of like, yo, just let you know I'll be all over the place. I'm like my jumping to another, not to jump to another, but I'll be all over the place. And I do that to kind of give like a warning to like, yo, this conversation, I'll get to jumping. Hopefully
I
you can
get it.
catch up because you know,
Right.
you know, and
Trust
so I'm, so I'm watching me as I'm looking at you, and it's also for me confirming again, like I'm supposed to be here. You know what I
right,
mean? I'm supposed to
right.
be in this spot, in this spot right now.
We're
Um,
all, we're all dancing each other's carbon footprint over here.
for sure, for
So
sure.
yeah, yeah, good emissions over here.
I do want to start because I got a lot of things to talk about that's not music,
Yeah,
right? Just life in
perfect.
general, and with cigars and hobbies and different things like that. But I do want to start in with legacy,
Mm.
right? Um, what does legacy mean to you? Now I know there's the definition of legacy, right? But with the name Crouch
Mm.
and you coming into a thing, right, where there's maybe an expectation, right? Maybe a way to be perceived,
Mm.
um, a way the surface level, a way to act, or however it may be. What does legacy mean to you? And did you ever feel the pressure of legacy being a Crouch?
Um, I don't know if I feel the pressure of it. I think that I look at well, of course, my uncle Andre, but my
Hmm.
granddaddy, my
Hmm.
father, my great uncle, and I looked at what they did as far as like out in the community of the world, and then me having the same blood course through my veins, me seeing them behind closed doors where the world didn't see.
Right.
And what I saw from all of them, from like I said, my father, my grandfather, Andre, was their humanity.
Hmm.
And so what legacy means to me is, like when they said, like, what's what's in your dash? What's your dash? It's like, what is your contribution to the world? And what I've come to understand is, like, for me, with what I do, with what comes through me musically,
Hmm.
um, I realize that it's my business card to be taught people. So,
Mm.
and I see, like, my grandfather, he was a people person. Andre was a people person. My father was a people person, and I honestly get that, like, to me. It's like I like people. I like being to myself, and I like people. So that's what legacy like means to me. It's like, how can I best show my humanity, through the music, through conversation, through
Hmm.
just living. It's like what does good humanity look like? And so
Right.
I think that's the bedrock of, you know legacy, and what people may say when you're not around, like how the impact that you have with people, good, bad, or indifferent. I think that's the catalyst of what legacy is.
I like that. I like that. And I asked that question. I always like to ask that question because don't we have maybe a foundational definition of legacy? But
Mm,
depending on how people see their own legacy, there's many
mm,
different definitions from that.
mm.
That comes from that.
It's
Mm.
so crazy because how we see ourselves and how people see us, more often than not, it's not the same, you
Right.
know? And that's the thing that's so crazy. And I know that for me, I am so incredibly hard on myself, and learning how to give myself grace, and not to be walking around with proverbial attaboys and stuff like that, but learning how to give grace. And it's crazy, like when you hear people speak wonderfully of you, and then you're flogging yourself, and it's like, man, what? It's like, why am I doing that?
Right.
And I think it's like, the loop that goes on in your head. It could be conditioning, and then the older I get, the more I know that I don't know. Like we were talking, and it's like when you start to question the things that you were taught, and it's like, okay, do I, like we said, do I believe this, or do I know this?
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's a super, and that's a firm line of delineate. Well, that's a firm delineation right there. And it's
Mhm.
like, so yeah, I think that really comes into play. Like how is it? How do we just like not be so hard on ourselves? That's what I'm learning for me, and it is a step by step process.
I was going to say, do you think it's because it sounds almost like culture in a sense, right? And I don't want to just say black culture, and this is what I mean by that. Let me expand on that. So, because I want to say now, I don't like to speak in absolutes, but
Hmm.
for lack of better terms, I want to say we all do that. When I say we all, I'm speaking for blacks, right?
Hmm.
We have this thing where you pull back, you kind of make yourself small.
Put your light under a bushel.
Yeah, yeah. And when if I don't understand what's embracing your greatness, because it's almost like we have like there's there's 0 or 100 with black people, right? Meaning if I just did something great, whether it was whether graduate or score 50 points or play for Michael Jackson, whatever I did,
Right.
I can, what's wrong with me embracing that I did a great job? Because me embracing that I did a great job does not mean I'm quote unquote cocky or arrogant
Exactly.
or
Exactly.
so
Exactly.
you kind of make yourself small to not
To make
seem that
other
way.
people to make other people to seemingly make other people comfortable.
For sure.
And I think that what you said is really interesting. It's like, I think that I think there's times when people kind of confuse cockiness, arrogance, cocky hyphen arrogance with confidence. And like for me, that's a thing that I deal that I deal with a lot. But it's like, but what kind of helps to put me like on even keel is like, I know that the gift and skill set that I have, it's not my doing. I mean, it's like I've honed this, but it's like God has just been nice enough to let me have this that I have. And as a result of that, I'm able to go ahead and speak to cats like you, and then we find our tribe,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I think that's the good thing about yeah, that's definitely a hard thing, like, am I cocky? Am I coming off like a prick, and this and that, and it's just the flood of just craziness that goes on in your head, and then you're still trying to make art at the same time, and you're still trying to be honest with yourself, and it's just like a myriad. It's like it's like a bunch of tape delay and echo going on of just crazy thoughts, and
Hmm.
sometimes you just have to just like, okay, you know what, I'm you know just gonna defrag for a minute. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah, for sure. It's funny because when you get to that point of, or when you're on the other side of a compliment, how awkward it gets. You know,
Man,
and it's even with me doing this, I give people their flowers. There's a couple of times where it's just oh no, and in my
right.
mind I'm like, yeah, I mean, but when it's me, I do the same thing, so I can't
I
really.
get it.
But it's almost like, man, the work is it happened. What you did is what you did. Like, and I mean, what I mean by that is that like you did the work. If I
Right.
run down, if I run down Kenneth Crouch's resume, right?
Mm,
You did the work,
I
right? You
did.
did the work. You did the shows. You did the tours. You produced the songs. You written the songs. You wrote the songs. You played amazing sets in different places and great memories and great
Right.
people and fun and sadness and
Sure.
heartbreak and all these things, right? Um, and but to embrace what now, if I put the extras on what you did, then that would be like, come on, luck. But if I'm running down your resume, like, man, I just want to say this is an amazing resume. You've been inspiring, or you meet some kid, man. I played the keys because of you. I learned the grand piano because of you.
That's
All these
crazy to
things.
me. Yeah.
It's what I mean. It happens, and it gets awkward, and we tend to like shell up, like kind of close up, and accept
Because
that.
we because we know from whence we came. And like I look like, say for instance, like me looking at my uncle. My uncle was my Mount Rushmore. And then
Mm,
for my uncle to say to me, "Hey, show me that," I would be like you're
right,
it's like you're a god.
right,
And a god is asking me. I'm like, I wouldn't be what this is if it wasn't for you. But
yeah.
it's something I thought about, and something that I've been just kind of like thinking. I wonder if false humility is maybe being weirdly displaced egotistical.
Break that down. Hmm.
And it's like, no, 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 no. Oh, and it's like you're shunning it, you're shunning it, but then it's like it's a battle. It's like you kind of want the praise, but then you don't want the praise. And is that your ego coming in when
Or
that's happening? I don't know,
no, I think you're on. I think you're onto something. You want the praise, but you don't want it to look like it.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So you would do yeah, because that's the thing. Because I've done it. I've done it myself. I've
Mm,
done. People told me, "Oh, look, you're this and that." Oh man, I ain't trying to. But I
right.
love it too, though. I
Right.
love to hear that. Like I love to hear why, and I don't even know why. When you could just embrace it and accept it.
And I'm learning to do that. I'm learning that it kind of makes me cringe a little bit, but I'm just learning how to say thank you. Like it was fun. I was watching this interview, like a few interviews with Jerry Seinfeld, and he has no problem with taking the compliments. However somebody may feel or not feel about him. I have this saying that I tell myself. It's like, you can think what you think, but I know what I know. Now I know I'm kind of like going against what I said, but it's like, but anyway, those are just kind of things that kind of course through my head. So, and then half the time, when you're saying stuff like that, it's like, do you really believe half the stuff that you think? So it's a constant loop of perpetual foolishness and wisdom and stuff all at the same time. But all that to say, the whole thing of displaced, being displaced, like egotistic, I think that might be something to that.
For sure. Absolutely. I think I've done it. Real quick, I want to say to the chat, I got some peoples in the building. Shout out to Easy Money. Shout out to Sunshine Baby. Shout out to GFS Blackout, Lord Racer. I had to let them know. So I kind of started to. I wanted to start the live one time. I didn't want to wait for a bunch of people to come in, and I never truly know. I'm really getting my YouTube going, so I never truly know how many people are going to show up. But I like to have these great conversations, then let them sit on YouTube, and then people can learn a lot, get a lot of gems.
Right.
For those who don't know, because Sunshine Baby made a funny to me. She was asking a serious question, I think, and she was saying,
brother, hilarious.
and so I want to let you know, for those who don't know, this is my good brother Kenneth Crouch. Kenneth Crouch is, now let me speak. Kenneth Crouch is legendary, classically trained, one of the illest pianists that ever lived. I can say that.
Whoa.
I can say that, right? And I've seen him live play. And I'm talking about play for, has written for, and produced for the likes of some of the greatest, dopest artists, Brandy, Eric Clapton, Chaka Khan, Mariah Carey, some of the greatest jazz sets, some of the dopest records, and played behind and for some of the most greatest, ill talented people you ever meet and ever seen. And for me to have seen him live doing his thing, finger dancing, right? Finger dancing. I thought it would be a really, really dope conversation to have him.
Yeah.
Just me and his good brother, we've been friends for some years, and we recently hung out, and I want to have a conversation with him on live. For the people who don't know who Kenneth Crouch is, you're gonna learn today, right? You're gonna learn today. But me and his brother, beyond the music, which he's done a ton of music, we can talk about music all day long. Beyond the music, he's just a really, really dope human being. And I love having conversation with him because we kicked it the other day and it just showed me his brain moves like my brain. It's constantly moving, constantly thinking, constant ideas and things coming up. And I want to have that kind of conversation here live in front of the people, So thanks again, Mr. Crouch, for honoring me by being here today, man. I appreciate you, man.
Well, much appreciated to you too.
For sure. Let's talk about one. I do want to talk about like I said, we got to get the little music part out first. You've done some amazing things with some amazing people, right? Mm-hmm. And you have some great moments, and there's down moments, and but that's a life thing. That's not me saying I know something specifically about Kenneth Crouch. Just life. You'll have your ups and your downs.
Yeah.
What are some of your in the early days of you, quote unquote, making it? Right. When I say make it, I mean like you start doing stuff for people that are notable, celebrities or whatever the case may be. So you get into that you making it thing, right? What are some of your earliest, fondest moments of just playing for people, maybe going live, maybe going on tour with certain artists or producing for certain artists? What are some really good memories you remember from the early days of you doing this?
Okay. So I remember the first time that I moved that I ever saw New York. Mm. And then as a result of going to New York, I was only supposed to be out there for like 3 weeks. And I wound up being out there for over a year and then going on a world tour and going to Europe. was with a guy that I had met in the 11th grade in high school. And he calls me up. He goes, "Hey, Crouch, hey, man, I need you to come out to New York for about 3 weeks. I'm working on some stuff. And I need you to come and play on some stuff." I'm like, "Okay, cool, whatever." And then I wound up going and hanging out and going to Europe and going all over Europe
Wow.
and seeing the Berlin Wall, like being there,
Wow.
like actually hammering out and hearing the sound of the Berlin Wall come down. And that dude was, you guys are gonna laugh when I say his middle name. That was Leonard Albert Kravitz. So yeah, yeah,
Wow,
being
Lenny
yeah,
Kravitz.
being Lenny. Yeah.
Damn. You went out there for 3 weeks
I
and
was
ended up
supposed to be there
being
for 3 weeks, and I wound up being back and forth, living in New York and being in Europe and going on tour. That whole part of my life was about a year, year and a half. It was crazy. It's like we let me see. So we opened up for Tom Petty on
wow.
that tour. That was
Rest in
like
peace, Tom
that was
Petty, man.
crazy.
Great.
So we opened up for Tom Petty. We we did a thing at Dodger Stadium where we opened up for David Bowie. We opened up for we played, oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, we were on stage with we opened for Bob Dylan at the Beacon in New York. Yeah,
What?
it's crazy. When I think like I don't really like I think about where I'm going. I
Right.
don't think about what I've done.
Mhm.
And when I think about what I've done, I'm like, oh wow, yeah, I forgot about that. Like, oh yeah, uh another time being in the so my uncle Andre, he worked with this Andre and Sandra worked with this guy, and I met Quincy through my uncle, and I was at the studio hanging out. It was me, Saida Garrett, Bruce Swedeen, and
Wow.
then we're sitting listening to music, and then this guy walks in and I'm talking, and I was like, okay, don't freak out. And I'm talking to Saida, and she's laughing. The guy goes, "Oh, you're funny." And it's like, then, he's good friends with my uncle, and it's Michael Jackson. So, yeah,
Come
it
on.
was,
Come on. Yeah.
yeah, it's great.
What?
And I can't really say I played with him, but one time, oh, Jesus, this is crazy. So one time oh God, I can't remember who I was with. I was with somebody, and we were at Madison Square Garden playing, and Michael walks out on stage. I said, "Well, I can say I played music with Michael Jackson on Madison
For
Square
sure.
Garden." It's
Absolutely.
it's kind of a loophole, but it's like, well, I did it and you didn't. So how about that?
I couldn't imagine that. I couldn't keep it together. I couldn't keep it together.
I, you know what? I'll tell you this. My uncle was a rock star to me, and my
Right.
uncle,
Right.
he was a rock star to them. So another person, I remember Chucky Booker called me up. He goes, "Hey man," he goes, "I can't do this TV show. Can you fill in for me?" And I said, "Yeah." So I did this TV show. I did Dancing with the Stars with this artist. And so it was like a mind thing. You know how just like TV, you
Yeah.
mind thing or whatever.
Yep.
And then once we wrapped and everything, went outside, and then that person came outside and said, "Hey, you probably know my uncle. His name is Andre." And then he goes, "Your uncle is the chaplain of the music industry." You said, "You make sure to tell him that I said hello." And that was my fellow Masonic brother. That was brother Lionel Richie.
Man, come on,
Yeah,
man.
it's
He
crazy.
said your
I forget.
uncle
I
is
honestly
the
forget these things.
chaplain of the music industry.
Yeah.
Wow. And it was Lionel Richie. Come on.
So I'll tell you something really dope about
Come
Andre.
on, man.
So I'll tell you something really cool about Andre. So he has a star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
I didn't know that.
So,
Okay.
so the first gospel artist to get a star was Mahalia Jackson,
Mm.
and then the second one was James Cleveland. But those were both posthumously because they were passed away.
Right, right.
My uncle was the first living gospel legend to get a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Wow.
And guess what the star is? You're gonna laugh. It's where
Where?
Frederick of Hollywood used to be. Oh, and then okay, all right. I'm just I
It's like
love
y'all
bragging
can think of
about.
a better spot.
Oh man,
That's crazy.
I can say something, but it'd be a bad taste. But um, uh, Andre was the first gospel guest on Saturday Night Live.
Wow. What?
So when I think about the bloodline that I come from, I have humility because it's like he has achieved stuff that I'm not going to say that I'll never do, but that he's absolutely aspirational.
Yeah, it's insane. Even
It
speaking his
really
name,
is.
it's insane.
And
Insanity.
I do so much cool stuff. Like I really honestly forget. I just think about like people who I've worked with. It's like, oh yeah, I've worked with them, and oh yeah, meeting Prince and seeing him, and then being around Suge. It's like my portfolio is it makes me laugh. But I think that what that speaks of is I'm curious, like how I said, have the courage to be courageous.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
curious about so much music. Like I'm so all over the place. I'm so all over the place because there's so much stuff that I like. It's like
Yeah.
so much music I like, so much food I like, so much wine I love, so many Amados I like, so many cigars I like, so much gelato I like, so much tomahawks, and like what I was saying to you the other day, I believe that when people hear good music,
Yeah.
like if you and I were to do music, what they're hearing is the results of our conversation.
100%.
That's really what it is. So, like when people say, "Man, well, it touched me in a certain way," well, it's like I feel that us as a creators, we're responsible for giving a good soundtrack for people's memories.
100%.
And
100%.
so, when you hear good art, I think that I think it's just the culmination. It's just a byproduct of whatever the conversations were.
Yeah.
And to me, and I do my best not to get judgmental, but it's like there's I listen to music and I just say, okay, I think I hear a certain type of intent with this, and it doesn't resonate with me. But then it's like I don't want to be the old dude at the club and be like, "Oh no, Dave," because it's like nobody wants to hear that.
Right.
You
Right.
know, it's like people got to find their way. And I'm like, okay, well, rather than me talk and bitch about it, maybe I just keep on just doing what it is that I do, and the right mods will come to my flame.
When you saying you said something, we talked about something yesterday, and this is a point to uh, great conversation and what kind of music people can produce from that, right? Or the result of great music can be from the conversation we've been having.
Absolutely.
And we talked about that yesterday when we talked about watching. We talked about the watch community, how Rolex or AP, how you couldn't just, for the people who don't know, you can't just walk into a Rolex store and just buy a Rolex. You
And
have
can't go to Ferrari and get an Enzo either.
You can't go to Ferrari. I don't care how much money you got. You can't walk in there and just buy a car, right?
Mm-hmm.
They'll sit you down. There's an application process. There's a talking to an authorized dealer, getting to know you. Maybe have some coffee. But I think that's if you do relate that to music, I think that's a beautiful way to create. I think instead of just having a label contact your favorite artist for a feature, who people don't actually care. So how passionate could you be about the music when it's just a business transaction at that point, right? But if me and Kid have been hanging out, smoking cigars, going to get some tomahawks another night, hanging out with the fellas on this night, having a beer on this day, just kicking it. And then we happen to be in the studio. He start playing, I start writing something, and then they don't tell him what kind of music come from that.
Exactly.
Because we've been such a vibe that vibe will pour out in the music. It'll just pour out in the music. You're way more passionate. You're way more into it.
You're super
I'm
honest.
trying to be the best version of myself with my brother who I've been vibing with. And I think that's a perfect way you put it.
And you know what? And the thing about it, what you'll hear is the honesty. You'll
Yeah.
hear something really, really honest. And I think that what you're speaking of is like old school A&Ring, like
Yeah.
repertoire. It's like, for example, like when you look at like how Jimmy and Terry did Janet's, like the Control album,
Mm-hmm.
brilliant. Took her out of LA, took her to Minnesota, hung out there, sat and talked. And you know
Yeah.
what? And it's something about when you're just talking and you're not talking about music.
Right.
Just, it's like, okay, now, well, then it's like, you get these A&R. I remember like back in the day where they have like these who's looking lists. I don't know if you remember those. And I always thought those things were just the corniest things in the world. Like, we need hits. I'm like, it's like you're a bean counter and you're trying to like, it feels like what you're trying to do is trying to capture magic in a dream catcher. It's
Right.
like, it needs to be a thing where life has to happen, and honesty and coffee and meals and games and anime, all of that fuses into what the honesty is of those two people or three
Yeah.
people or whomever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. For sure. And it. I think if you first of all, if you do it that way, there's a much better experience
Mm-hmm.
overall. And I think it's very important. I think people bypass it all the time doing business,
Mm.
but I think if you approach it this way, that's a really good opportunity for fellowship. You know what I mean?
Man, yes,
Building community, becoming
yes,
friends.
yeah.
Like what if I just do if I call Mr. Crouch to play keys on something, right?
Mm.
And then he hear the music, play keys, he go home, my people talk to his people, we exchange paperwork, he get paid, and we can put the album out. It's just that. But
Right.
how much of an opportunity did I miss by missing the fact he's such a cool dude? We have so many things in common. We'll be super cool hanging out. Me and him we go to the same cigar spot. Like, I would miss out on all these opportunities because I just did a transaction that I couldn't find out anything about you. Because all we talked about was music in the
But I
moment.
think that, but here's another part. So here's another part of that.
Mhm.
I think that us being the journeyman that we are, so we're sonic assassins.
Mhm.
So we're
I like that.
assassins. So it's like, okay, I'm going to give you what it is that you hired me to do.
Mhm.
And then I'll say like, okay, now check this out. Let me just paint and just do what the music is telling me.
Mhm.
And what I've come to learn is when people are like, oh man, this person's the GOAT and stuff like that, like that's just the most ridiculous thing in the world.
Right. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
believe that it's just me just giving it's just me being, it's us being persuasive to give our point of view. And it's so funny. I've seen so many times when somebody will hire me to do something and then they'll be like, okay, well, I want this. And I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, okay, well, how about this? And I'm kind of allowing myself to be like, you know what? All I can be is me. Like I am an
Yeah.
amalgamation of my influences, but at the end of the day, I'm me and I'm going to do the best to play the most honest reaction of what I feel this music is saying to me. Does that make
Mhm.
sense?
Yeah, for sure.
You
100%.
know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. And I think that's a great way to look at it.
yeah.
Here's the thing. A lot of people don't try to fully understand their place in music or
Mm,
in the arts in general, right?
mm,
When you have a kind of connection to understand what your
mm,
role is. And when I say what
mm,
your role is,
mm,
your role even as Kenneth Crouch, can change at all times, right?
It's forever fluid.
Forever fluid. Your role can always. You don't have to do one specific thing or play a specific way or be a specific thing in all these different spaces. But if you,
It's being in the micro, like what we talked about. There's the
yeah,
macro, but then there's
yeah,
the micro, and the micro is where that's where the infinity happens. Uh, yeah, because I've been really keying into like infinity and like I remember my dad asked me about parallel universes. I don't know if I talked to you about that.
you talk about that, yeah.
But I really do believe that, and especially like what I was saying, when we close our eyes, there's nobody else there, and we're the only person that's in that viewpoint right
Mm-hmm.
there. And then that's for me. That's when I can really see. You know what I'm saying?
You made me think of something. I watched the episode of do you watch Black Mirror?
I know there's a new season of it that came out, right?
The very first episode of season 7.
Is it crazy?
Yeah, but it's crazy as far as what you're talking about.
Mm.
And it puts you in the mind frame of just to give you a little piece of it. There's this company called Eulogy, right, where these people are having like virtual funerals in a sense, and where you can everybody from all over the place in the world, so everybody probably can't make it to a funeral. So what Eulogy does is send out kits where you can put this little thing on your temple and kind of just think about the person, like I'm thinking about whoever passed or whatever, and then it'll virtually put you in the space of that. So what they were doing was he couldn't think of an ex-girlfriend he loved. He hadn't thought about her in a long time. She had passed away, and so the thing who talks to you like Siri, she was telling him to get some pictures. And if you get some pictures, just think about her in the pictures. And when he think about it, it put him in the picture.
Yeah.
So now you're in the picture, walking around, and it starts coming back to you. You may hear a song that was playing that night, or you may see something see a friend in the corner. Oh, I remember this night. This is when, and all these things start coming to you. You get to relive your memories in a sense.
Right.
Now I'm not going to go to the whole thing because I do want you to check it out, but it puts you in the mind. It just puts you. Once you turn it on, your eyes turn gray. But and we're talking like you close your eyes and go into this space where it's just you, and it's just you in that space. And in that space, what you see, you're kind of in. So it's like it opens up this realm of like going backwards in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing I want to say:
is it backwards or is it inwards?
I can only say backwards because they only dealt with the past in this episode.
Okay, but
in this episode they only dealt with the past.
But you're dealing with the past in present time.
Yes.
And you're going in, but anyway, that's just me. Just by
got it. I'm with you. I'm with you. And I think actually the concept is still. I don't see why you couldn't, because if I think about a picture of somebody that was in the past, what about if I look at a picture that was recent and I'm thinking about somebody in the present, where would it take me? So yeah, that's interesting. I want to talk about something. I mean, I'm not jumping topics, but I kind of want to talk about something you mentioned with. I kind of don't look at my life from before. I'm always looking ahead.
Okay,
right? That's you said. I want to misquote you, but you were thinking about the times where you had played or you had did different things, right? You said, I don't be thinking about this. I'm always looking forward, right? It's interesting because the individual usually doesn't. The person usually doesn't look back. They're looking forward. Everybody on the outside only sees behind you.
Right.
And what's interesting because it's the reason, back to our original conversation about showing love and why we feel awkward and we make ourselves feel small, is because people celebrate the things you've done. Right. Everything you've done is in your past. So while I'm focused on like trying to get my wife a new home, and I'm trying to do content creating, photography, and I'm trying to build something so I can take care of my family, a more solidified state of my life, people coming to me like, "Look, you one of the hardest rappers ever. Man, I wish you would have did this. Look, I remember you performed at such and such." And I'm like, "Dang, I forgot about that. Well, I
Ain't that
forgot about
crazy?
that. I forgot about all these things because I'm steadily moving forward, constantly moving in
And
front
I
of me."
think that's the way it's supposed to be, though.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
your screen got, I don't know if it's on your end, but your screen got frozen.
Oh, is it still frozen?
Yeah.
Okay, your screen is frozen on my end. Are we good? We back?
Should I refresh?
Let me know. Let me come call. Pull myself off. Come back on. You see me?
No. Should I disable mine and then do mine again?
Let me see.
Okay. Okay,
You
I
can
can
hear me,
see
but you
that.
can't see
Okay,
me.
it switched sides. I see your like emoji, but I don't see you yet.
Oh, okay. Let me see.
You check your camera to make sure that it's enabled.
Yeah.
Okay,
Let
Sunshine
me
Baby says
ask
good
you,
here.
can y'all see me? It's for my people in the comments. If you can see me, if I'm moving, you can see me, or you can see both of us. Let us know.
I don't see you, but it's all good.
I wonder why. Oh no, no. Can y'all see me? Okay, man. Can you see me now?
Yo, yo.
Oh, they said they see both of us.
Okay, they said it's not frozen as a viewer.
Yeah,
You
so they
there?
see both of us. So maybe it's just frozen on your end. You think so? Can you hear me? Kids, can you hear me?
All right,
Let me
it'll be
see.
back. All
Oh,
right,
can
we
you hear me?
got
No.
Marion, we got Sarissa.
Oh, so let's see. Okay. Oh, shoot. Sorry. I muted you on accident. Okay. Oh, so they see both of us. So I see you and I see you moving, but you can't hear me. But everybody else can hear me.
Sorry, y'all.
Can
Okay.
you hear me now?
Let me say, I don't hear Luck. Luck, I don't hear you, bro.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Let
I
me
don't
see.
hear you at all.
I don't know why it's doing
I
that.
don't hear you. I don't hear you.
Shout out to everybody in the chat.
Oh my goodness.
GFS
I don't hear
Blackout,
you, bro.
Chinchilla Socks, Carissa.
Can
My
you
mom's
guys
definitely in the
in
building.
the
Hey, mom.
chat? Can you hear him over there?
My sister's definitely in the building. Hey, sis. Love y'all. Yeah, they said they. Let me hit them in a private chat.
Yeah, man. I see that your mic is going on over there, but I don't see you nor hear you, bro.
I don't know why it's doing that. Dang, we having a great conversation too.
Should I jump off
Yeah.
and
Okay.
come
Yep.
back on?
Yep. Jump off and come back on. Let me see. Let me tell
Let's see.
them.
Okay.
Sorry about the technical difficulty, my peoples. Trying to get it right. Yeah, unless he muted himself. Well, I'm not muted, so. But I appreciate y'all, man. This is my guy, Kenneth Crouch. For those who haven't, let me see. Jump out there and pop back. Lucky, check your settings. I think I'm all good on my end. GFS blackout. I think I'm good on my end. Yeah, I think it's his settings. Here we go, right here. Let me see.
Yo, yo.
Yo, yo. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yo, can you hear me?
Oh man. Sorry,
Yeah,
y'all.
they can hear both of
I
us.
don't hear you, bro.
I don't know why it's doing that. You got some headphones? Oh, you can hear me. Let me see.
Shoot.
Sorry about that, y'all.
Yeah, I do have headphones.
Let me see.
I do have headphones. I'm gonna jump off and then I'll put on the headphones. Okay.
Sorry about that, y'all. Yo, this is my man, my good brother, Kenneth Crouch. For those who don't know who I've been here, man, Google him when you get a chance. If you don't know him, I'm talking about legendary pianist, keyboardist. He's played for everybody, like literally everybody. I don't know if some of y'all heard some of the stories earlier. Like I said, Lenny Kravitz, um, Brandy, Eric Clapton, who else? Toni Braxton, Babyface, Chaka Khan. He's literally did. He's literally played for everybody. I'm talking about keys. He's a classically trained, legendary pianist. Right, keyboards, piano, grand piano, sick, hands down, ridiculously sick. And he's played for on the road, toured, and produced for some of the artists I just named. Ridiculous. I caught him. I met him through my good friend Terrence Martin, who I'll be doing an interview on Terrence Martin real soon. Terrence Martin, saxophonist, producer, and music director. Kenneth Crouch is a music director as well. Anybody who's big in gospel, R&B, pop, some rock, most likely Kenneth Crouch has played, produced, or written for them. Huge deal. A lot it goes on the radar being that he's not in the front. But if you are like a fan of music and instrumentation and musicianship, then the man. You know what I mean? It's my good brother. I seen him the other day. I actually hit him up to do this interview, and he happened to be by my crib going to get cigars. For those of you who don't know, I do like a good cigar. I haven't smoked a cigar in years because I don't have the community around who smokes cigars, and I can't smoke in the house because my wife is here, and everybody don't like cigar smoke. But I went to go pull up on him the other day to go smoke a cigar with him, and right in Inglewood, right here on Market Street. If any of y'all know Inglewood on Market Street, it's a place called Drobe's. Really dope spot to kick it. A really nice spot, man. Some really good dudes in there. It was just a great time. Yo, yo, yo. You still can hear me?
Okay.
No, nothing.
Oh shoot. Okay.
Okay. You still can hear me?
Okay, bro. You know what? I think it's pilot error or something on my end because I don't know what's going on, bro.
Let me see.
I think I know what's going on. I'm gonna text you. My setting. Yeah, bro. It's like I don't. Okay, my settings are cool. Let me just make
Okay.
sure. Hold on.
Yeah, but he's oh
Let's see.
yeah, probably your phone sound settings.
Audio. Sound.
I appreciate y'all for being patient, man. We have technical difficulty. It happens. Right.
Yes, it is
It's
all
all
part of
part
the
of the process.
process.
It is. But no matter what, we're gonna have a good time today. We're gonna have a dope conversation. We'll get this
let's
fixed.
see.
But I appreciate y'all falling in.
Input.
I really want to have a dope conversation. Me and him was chopping it up the other day for hours.
Everything is cool. Damn it.
I don't know why I was doing that.
Yeah, I don't see you, bro. Man, I'm so sorry, everybody. Pilot error on my end. I think we should reconvene.
Okay.
Sorry about this. I think I know what's going on. Yeah, I'm on my laptop right now.
Oh, switch your phone.
Yeah, I'm on my laptop right now. Um, okay, I'll try my phone. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, fellas. All right, you guys, 2 seconds.
Yeah, so he can't hear. So I'm telling him we all see him, we all hear him, but he doesn't hear me or see me. So I'm telling him like, yo, just get off your laptop and go to your phone. No extra. Well, I'm not running any extra apps on my end. I'm good on my end. Same format I use all the time. I got just my program, my software. I run the live through, and I use my Osmo Pocket 3 for my camera, and that's it. You know. Yeah, I got some I don't want to talk about everybody because I got to lock down some people. I've been talking to some of my peoples to do more interviews or do more conversations. I don't like to say interviews because I don't like to talk about the same stuff. I do want to get a little bit in about their career, obviously, because they oh, my shirt. I do want to have some more conversations um with some dope creative people and talk about some of the things that career wise, but also I feel like they do so many interviews talking about the same stuff. So I want to get some of the either stories behind the scenes they don't talk about or their other interests. So I'm only doing this right now because I feel like I want people to know, obviously, people who don't know who Kenneth Crouch is, I want you to get a basis of why we're even, that's my friend, but also, like I said, talented, legendary pianist. Um, but also, I do want to talk about their other likes and interests. You know what I mean? Can you hear me? Oh, let me type you. Hold on. Yo, yo, yo. You hear
Yo.
me now?
Yes, sir.
Oh, we good. Okay, we good then. All right. All right.
Man, pilot error. I'm sorry.
It's all good. It's all good, man. Mr. Big Big
Yeah.
Martin brother. Oh, I talked. Hey, Blackout. I talked to Jason the other day. Prob the other day. So me and Prob gonna go get together and pull up on him at the studio, and then I'm gonna have him jump on a live when we schedule that. So you'll be seeing that real soon as well. Um, Mr. Crouch. So when we were trying to get the technical difficulties under wraps. I
Yeah.
was I was running like a quick short bio for the people who
Okay.
didn't know who you were.
Yeah.
I ran that over again just to give you a little inside information of what was going on.
Yeah.
So you played for everybody.
Mm.
You wrote for tons of people. You produced for tons of people.
Mm.
Music director,
Mm.
a bunch of stuff. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I also told them I don't want these conversations focused on. I'll give a bit about what they do, and they're here because they're my friends, and what they do. I want to give that and explain that, but also I want to talk about the stuff that you don't talk about in interviews. I want to talk about your other interests and likes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
What we were
I
talking
want
about,
people to
like the
know
stuff
that
we were talking about, like the stuff we were talking
for
about the other
sure.
day.
Yeah. Let me ask you this though:
Okay.
Do you like to travel?
Love it. Oh my
Okay,
God.
that's what I want
Yes.
to talk about.
Yes.
Traveling. Where?
Yes.
What was some of your favorite places to travel, and what is it about these places that you like to travel?
So up late, um, there's so many places that I've been to over and over and over again, but it's like there's some places that I've been to lately that have blown me away. I've been going to the UK for years. I've been going to the UK for like what 35 years, you know. Um, but a place that I really like
Mm-hmm.
is um, let me see. I really like Edinburgh, Scotland. Scotland is just
Word.
man, it's so ancient and futuristic at the same time. Scotland is really
Never heard
dope.
nobody say that. Okay.
Yeah, Scotland is really dope. I like I like southern Italy. I like Rome. I like Spain. Where else do I like? South Africa was just so dope.
Really?
South Africa was dope. Yeah, I went there. It was. That's another funny thing. I was only supposed to be there for like God, but like 3 or 4 days
Hmm.
because I was doing this thing. I was out there doing this thing with. We did this party thing with Dave Chappelle out there, and then
Word.
I wound up being there for a month, and I recorded some album stuff. I did like some music for Netflix in Africa out there. It was just I just said, look, my thing was like, just get me out there, and I'm gonna
Right.
figure the shit out.
I'll figure it out.
And yeah, and
Wait, were you going for the Dave Chappelle thing?
yeah,
Okay. Okay.
but I was only supposed to be there for like 3 days, and then a friend of mine who was Kenny Lattimore's old manager,
Hmm.
he lives there. So I
Oh.
let him know. I said, "Hey man," I said, "I'm coming." And he's like, "Man," and then the label like wound up like putting me up, and I did like just some records with this artist out there named Amanda Black.
Hmm.
Yeah, and then it wound up going like to like Netflix out some Netflix stuff out there. It was crazy.
It's funny. Man, you see, with GFS Blackout asked this question. I don't know if you've seen that.
Right. Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
You see it?
Oh, what he said is he pianist. I want to know if he's ever played with the Philharmonics. Yeah. You talking about the Philharmonics question?
L.A. or New York? Yep.
All right. So yeah, I got a
Good
funny
question,
story. Yeah.
Blackout.
So yeah, yeah. So I did play with the Philharmonics. So that was, mm, I don't know, maybe. So I can't remember how long it was. It was a few years ago. So there was a thing that was at. I got a call to work with John Legend and Sharon Jones from the Dap King. So that was like a crazy mix there.
Wow,
And
that is a crazy blast.
yeah, it was nuts. And then what it was is like I was going to be playing with them at Hollywood Bowl, and it was with the LA Phil. So I played with Jonathan. So there was like uh, I said Jonathan with John. So like the first part of the show, I was playing organ, and then that was with Sharon Jones because he was playing piano. And then the second half of the show, I played piano, and it was the 50th anniversary of what's going on. So this whole like
Oh wow,
orchestral thing, yeah, it was crazy. And
damn.
so what was super crazy is I like to kind of mess with orchestras sometimes because sometimes orchestras they can be sort of snooty. And so what I did was like during the break, I just started playing one of my favorite Chopin pieces. And I kind of flipped it. So it's like so I started playing, and I was just on my on our us thing,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and so I get down and I start playing, and then I knew I had him because the eyebrows went up. So once I saw the eyebrows, I'm like, got him. And then after that, they're like, oh, what did they say? They said, and then I heard the ums, like the and I said, oh yeah, when I hear the ums,
Yeah.
that's when you. And then they said, so where did you study? And I said, privately, just like you,
Right, right, right.
privately, and I think it's when you I call the gift and skill set what I have is like kind of left brain, right brain, where
Mhm.
I grew up like classical lessons and stuff like that, and I also grew up in church, so playing by ear. So it was really towing the line, like really like from both sides of the spectrum, and then fusing them together.
Wow. Dude, it's funny because that's how you know you've done a lot. Because for a question to come randomly out, you're like, oh yeah, I did that. Or like, oh,
Right? It's crazy. It's
yeah.
it's it's really crazy. I'm like, wow, yeah, I have done that. Yeah, it's you know,
Yo, now I read that and I didn't know what specifically. that you work with Eric Clapton?
So, okay, that's another funny story. So,
Oh, Susan. Oh, it went on. What happened?
no, a phone call was coming
Oh, there we
in.
go. Okay, okay.
A phone call was coming. Oh, anyway, so I was doing a bunch of stuff with Babyface. I was recording with Babyface a lot, and he called me to play on this record. So this was either the first or the second number one song that I played on. Oh, I got it. That's another story I got to tell you. That's super crazy.
Okay.
So anyway, I get a call to play on this record, and it's the song is called "Change the World."
I
So
love
I
Change the
played
World.
on. So I played on "Change the World."
Wow, I never knew that. I love Change the World.
Yeah. So I did all this stuff with Kenny. So I played on like "Waiting to Exhale" and stuff like that. And then I'm in my studio in Hollywood, and then I get this random phone call. Like I had a small room. Terrence used to come there all the time when I would like get him from school. I'd pick him up from when he was still in high school. I'd pick him up
Yeah.
and he would come over to the
Wow.
studio and stuff like that. So anyway, I get this phone call and they said, Kenneth Crouch. I said, yeah. They said, my name is Simon Climby. I'm like, okay. He goes, I'm calling on behalf of Eric Clapton, and he wants to know if you want to go on a world tour with him. So then, mind you, I'm in the studio by myself.
What?
I'm in the studio by myself, right? So the phone goes. So I said, wait a minute. So there's nobody there with me, but I get the phone. I go like that, and I said, oh man. I said, tell him, that'll be cool. And then,
That'd be cool.
so then, uh, this back in the day of like answer machines and fax machines and shit like that. So I come home and I check my phone, my fax machine, and then I hear, hello, Kenny Crouch. This is Eric Clapton calling. I'm calling to tell you I'm so honored to be going on tour with you. I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
What?
Bro.
Yo.
Okay. So I think that was the first, because I've only played on 2 number one songs. But the other number one song, I just found out. This is hilarious. This other number one song, I just found out the other day that they gave the plaque to this artist. She has 1 billion streams on the song that she has. And I played on that. And that's Natasha Bedingfield, Unwritten. So I played on that song too.
What?
Bro, yeah.
A billion streams?
I played on a song that got 1 billion streams. So I want that plaque.
You should have. You should have it.
I kind of want that plaque.
Yeah, it's a cool thing to have, right? I'm thinking about these stories, man, and I like first of all, I like the fact that we can take you back there. Because sometimes we do so much living, and sometimes we don't make time to reflect. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And
you have to learn how to live. I remember having this. I used to box a little bit, like training. I wasn't like in any rings, but I remember one time my trainer he gave me a combination, and then I did it right, and it resonated in my body, and then he clocked me, and I was like so like enthralled that I did it right, and what that taught me was you have to live a lifetime in a split second. So it's like bask in it right now and keep it pushing. So when you're saying that there's so much life that's going on, it's all we have is moments. And I think that so many times people are like, it's like, okay, what happened yesterday, what hasn't happened now. And I have a saying that I tell myself, I said, one day and someday is today. And we have to bask in it, because now is always now, and now is always now, and no matter what, now is always now. Like we're on some future shit, but the future It's a now that we haven't caught up with. But
Yeah.
now is always now. You feel me?
Now is always now. I like that.
Yeah.
You said a quote the other day that I'll never forget,
What's that?
and
Oh,
it
I
was
think I know what it was. Have the courage to be courageous.
had the courage to be courageous.
Right.
And I thought about it's kind of, that's kind of like one of them for lack of better terms, it was a trigger quote in a sense. Now I'm not going to tag it as a trigger because it's bad. I'm not going to tag it as, but I think it's like you know how you read the Bible and then you read the scripture and it's you. You got to slap yourself. It like checks you when you read it. It was like I heard that quote and it checked me. That's what it was for me. It was more so like because the quote is real life. Have the courage to be courageous. Yes. Right. And I want to be, that's why I keep saying it, because I want to be mindful of that at all times. Have the courage to be
and I have to
courageous.
tell myself that.
Have to.
And you know what? And it really lets you know how much you really stand on business for yourself.
Yeah.
When people talk about standing on business, it's like, okay, but really it's like you are the business. Like, what did Jay-Z say? I'm a businessman,
Yeah.
And you are, we're not singular, but it's like we're all part of this big ecosystem, but it's like, but to be as great as we can be so that we can be greater for the greater good of the ecosystem. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I sit and I think about it's so easy for me to a lot of times to hustle different things that I start to fall into different passions or just things I'm used to.
Yeah.
But when it comes to those new things, right? Fear of the unknown.
Right.
Or like, running. A lot of people run head first into different challenges. I'm a big calculator when it comes to certain challenges. I'm doing the math. I'm overdoing the math sometimes. And what happens is you can do the math so much. Now you just focus on the math and not the challenge, the problem.
And you're trying to quantify the magic.
You're trying to quantify the magic. And it doesn't compute. And here's the thing. Oh, this is dope. I'm glad you got me on thinking this. If I'm trying to do the calculations on something that hasn't been done or I haven't experienced, then what kind of answer do I think I'm trying to produce?
What I know, like I said,
wow.
What I know is that I don't know. And that's what I know.
Yeah.
Because what happens is, I think we get tripped up because what we're trying to do is we're trying to apply data on things that we haven't even like proven yet. And and this sounds like sort of scientific, but I think that science really shows, this is my thought process, but when I think about science, I think it really shows, it solidifies that God is God to me. That's what it does for me.
I like that though. I can see that.
Yeah. Because the thing about it, see, like man, listen, we're it's like the Bible says we're made in God's image. So that means that we're fractals. So how can we as a fraction understand totality? We can't. There's this is literally physically impossible. So for as smart as we think that we are, it's like that old song by Kansas, all we are is destined to win. And when I think about that, that makes it a whole lot easier for me to know that we're just little specks out here. And for something that hit me the other day, it's like, we have a short time to live a long life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like when it's 90 years and it's like 100 years. It's like, so say you live to 120 years. It's nothing. Oh, I'm looking at what GFS Blackout said. He said, "Where did I study? I studied privately. But what did I master? Still mastering. Can I read music? Yeah. Do I know the circle of fifths? Yeah, I know the circle of fifths." It's like being a brother in the room make you smell racial tension. I, you know what? I have a thought about like racism stuff like that. I think it's like anger is always a secondary emotion. Anger is like based out of fear. And I think that the racial tension that we feel, we're always going to have it
Yeah,
because
yeah,
in the words of Mr. Lamar, they are not like us. And that's not, listen, that's not a diss.
right,
That's just what it is.
for sure.
Like we have the Eve gene in us. They, and the stuff, the magic that we weave,
Hmm.
no matter where we go, no matter how much money we have in our pocket, we we dictate culture everywhere that we go. So it's like me smelling the racial tension. I'm like, you know what? It's an excellence that you just don't have. That is something that we just inherently have, and it's not.
Yeah,
And it's not. It's really. It sounds racial, but it's like it's just certain things are just given to certain people, and that's just, I believe, the magic that we have.
yep, yeah.
This is my take on it.
You know,
Sorry, didn't mean to get weird, but
no, no, no. No, actually, I think we have to get more weird because so so I've been okay. Racism conversation is a tough conversation because there's so many people to offend, right? What I mean by that is that, and and,
I
and
love it.
depending on what side of the argument you're on, you would be there. You potentially can be pissing off your own people, right? Um, One thing that changed my views a lot on racism, uh, and people in general. So, for example, traveling, right? Traveling, especially traveling in the world, will give you a whole different experience when dealing with humans, right?
Man,
Because you've
bro,
seen
talk
now
about it.
once you got out of America, you got to look back at America and see how other people are living, how they view humanity, love, health, all these things. Morals, to have their moral standard, whatever their moral fiber in that country, that side of the world, and
Yeah,
then America's just a different thing, right? So that was one to help me change my thoughts on like a lot of. I, I would have a much bigger chip on my shoulder if I never got out of America. If I never, right, I would just
and
have the right.
and you know what? And I tell people this. I said that if I were president, what I would do is for every person that turns 18 years old, I would have a lottery, and they would immediately get a passport, and I would do like a thing where almost like like when you're doing like those, like, man, what's that shit called? When you're doing not like a
Like
lot,
a
well, like a
raffle,
lot.
like
Yeah,
a raffle.
exactly.
Okay.
So basically, you do like the raffle and whatever. You go in and dig in and send people to a country where they don't know anybody, where they don't know the language, they don't know the food, they know nothing.
Hmm.
Because here's the thing that I really believe. What I believe is when you don't know the language, that's when your humanity really kicks in. And
Yeah.
I remember that the first time I went to Finland, I went to this club and it was crazy. But meeting people, and when all you can do is grunt, when you're grunting
Hmm.
and your eyebrows are going up and you're that really, I believe that that kind of communication really gets to the heart of the matter faster because you have to get to the simplest uh, sentiment for people to feel where you're coming from.
Right. Yeah.
And another thing that I've learned is like, for as much as we think we're different, one thing I know is like we all want to laugh, we want to eat, We want to drink good wine. We want to listen to good music. We want to listen to
Yep.
art, watch, look at good art. And that has black, white, straight, gay, Democrat, Republican, Nazi lowrider, BGF, Crip blood. Everybody wants that.
Yeah.
Everybody wants that.
For
And
real.
there's a song I wrote a long time ago, and one of the lyrics I said, the differences we have is what makes us the same. And I really, really believe that to be true. That especially like how you say, going out of the country, and like when people say, "Well, is the food nasty?" and then they got ranch, it's like, stop, don't, leave the ranch alone. Stop. First of all, ranch. I'm sorry. There's certain things that we do that I just, but ranch. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. Sorry. We can do better. We
Yeah,
can do better.
people got to live more. People have to live more, man.
Ranch, ranch, ranch. Sorry.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, yeah. But yeah, but the thing is like, was it food good? It's like, yes. Like soul food is everywhere.
Mm.
And what I mean, like, when you eat something and you're like, when it makes you like drop your fork into the plate,
Yeah, that good comfort food, that soul food. Yeah.
and that's everywhere that you go.
Yep.
That's everywhere, bro.
I thought about something. Will help me a lot in changing my views on how I see people.
Okay.
When I started driving Uber,
Mm.
Uber, I always looking at it. One of the good things I got out of Uber was that it forces two people, if they're willing to, it forces two people to deal with one another. Right?
Mm.
We're in a close, confined space, and if we are willing to have a conversation, we're going to learn a lot in that car ride. And it's been many of times I've picked someone up, and then by the time they're stepping out of the car, it was like a wow, wow, that was a great conversation. But you can tell there's an undertone what's happening there. I may have thought something or had a preconceived notion about this conversation,
Right.
and it may be a little different now. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
And because I will have many conversations in a car about like once we get to talking about our likes and dislikes and what makes us uncomfortable, what or politics or spirituality, we start talking about all that stuff like that. You find out that a lot of us are more alike than we are different. But that don't mean there are no
Without
differences.
question.
Yeah,
Right.
right, right. That don't mean there are no differences. And it's interesting. It's like I had a point about traveling. I lost my point with traveling,
You
but
good.
it's to the same point though. As far as how it changed the way I view people. It puts you in a room with people, and you like, wait a minute. Here, what it does is it shows you the programming, right? Once you
Come
deal with
on, man.
people, then you like, wait a minute. I can see now. You can see from the outside how programming has got to be too,
We're outside of the matrix.
for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. It's getting
and
out of
and
the simulation. Yeah.
and music in a lot of hell in me and your life was a catalyst for seeing a lot of this stuff, experiencing a lot of this stuff, right?
Yeah.
It was the driving force to get you in Africa or to get you in these places, and then experience the world in a whole different way,
Yeah.
and then come back home and try to have a more relaxed view on how we see the world. I'm not saying a soft view, or I'm not an idiot or naive, right?
Right.
But
Right.
also, I don't want to walk around with that shit on me like that. That kind of
It's
like
so,
that chip,
right.
you know?
Right. And it's like, yeah, because it's like, how is that helpful? Like
Right.
what is the benefit of that? Like, how does that push the needle forward of good living in humanity?
Yeah.
How does that even work?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you find music for you, even now, right?
Okay.
Therapeutic?
Wow, that's a really good question. Hmm. I'm learning. Hmm, wow. You know, I'm learning how to like it again. Um, because I'm so analytical of it. Like when I listen to music, it's like I'm like, okay, okay, they use this change right here. Okay, they use this delay right here. All right, okay, so they've done this, and um, I guess the one thing, I guess how the music is being therapeutic to me
Hmm.
is, and we talked about this. It's like I kind of write stuff. Um, I write like quotes and little things, and I don't know if I necessarily really believe them. Maybe like little journaling, little
Yeah.
vignettes, perhaps. And then I take pictures, just for myself, and I do like I've been doing like a lot of art with like AI prompts and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And what I find is with that sort of trifecta, that sort of like artistic trinity, um, I think it kind of helps. I think that's like the circling of the wagon of the therapy for me,
Mm,
because I think that when you're creative, it's not like it's just music that you do.
right.
It's like even the way that we like fix our food, like me, it's like I don't like to have like just one type of juice. It's like I like combining my juices. I like combining like cereals and stuff like
Mm.
that. I don't A lot of times I don't like or. Sometimes I like
Oh,
and.
okay. Okay.
I like and. It's like I don't like to feel like I'm feeling like I'm pigeonholed.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's when I just make myself just calm down and listen from just like, okay, don't try to like analyze this, like just bask in it. Um, that's when I think the therapeutic part of it comes in.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
Do you find peace in that, in those moments?
Um. Hmm. Um. I think like if I hear if I'm listening to like Scriabin, or if I'm listening to Scriabin, if I'm listening to Host or like
Hmm.
Quincy or whatever, I can hear something and it is just like and it's
Hmm.
crazy. Like there's some like me and Terrace, we played. I sat in with him at Verse a few months back, and he and I we played the Thelonious. We've been playing the Thelonious Monk tune together for years. Like that's like our that's like our conversation we have. We
Yeah.
probably played this tune at least a million times.
Mm.
Just me and him. Like when I met you when I was divorced, living over at the house and in Porter Ranch, we would
Mm.
just sit and talk and make food and listen to music and listen to tracks and just
Yeah.
vibe out and throw just throw stuff out in the air. And when it's one thing to like to be there playing it, but I was looking back at a thing that he and I did at Verse. So it's like I know what it was like when we played,
Yeah.
and then to listen back on it, and it makes me laugh because I'm like, man, these people are here listening to a 25-year conversation,
Right.
and they're listening to something that we did in 5-10 minutes. But
Yeah.
this is a conversation that's been going on for 25 years.
Wow.
That's how I know how to articulate that.
Wow. I love the way, man. I love the way you broke that down too.
Um,
Wow. Wow. It's funny. These kind of conversations I like because they're always it challenges my brain in a way to where in the moment I just shift to like wow, that like it's such a profound thought or such a profound breakdown, my brain automatically shifts to like a question off of a statement again. Like,
Sure.
oh, well, what about this? Or what about this? But I love these conversations because I think sometimes you just get tired of I don't want to say boring, maybe fluff.
Topical.
Yeah, topical. Yeah, for sure. 100%. 100%.
It's like cannon
Yeah,
fodder.
yeah, yeah. Because
Yeah.
here's the thing about fellowshipping, conversing, whatever. It's like I'm interested in the conversation, in the ideas of the person I'm talking to,
Yeah.
and if I'm interested in that conversation and the ideas, I can almost talk about anything because I'm curious on how they view a bunch of different things.
Like, how did you get it? Like, how did you get here? Like, what's the through line?
Like you made me think about with your statement about what did you say? You said you were talking about the norms, not trying to do the norms. I forgot exactly what you said around that, but it made me think about how, oh, I'm sorry. This was tied to the traveling part and the way we're viewed and the way people view themselves outside of America. And I thought
Man.
about a story Pharrell told when he talked about when Nego first came to New York. His first time in the States, he's in New York. He said they went to a diner or something to go eat. He said that so they're ordering food, and then Nego says he wants a hot dog and a glass of milk, right?
Okay.
Right, and then Pharrell was saying like what? Why would you get a hot dog and a glass of milk? He said, what's wrong with a hot dog and a glass of milk? He said, man, I don't go together. I don't. What do you mean a hot dog and a glass of milk? He said, you get like a hot dog and like soda or a hamburger and fries or peanut butter and jelly, essentially, right? And then Nico was like really kind of like flabbergasted and like, why? He said, why? He said, what's the problem? And he said, see, he said, that's so American. He said, you guys have these formulaic ways to do things, and then you guys are raised on these ways, and then you teach it to your kids, and then this becomes the ruling of your whole entire being. He said, I like hot dogs and I like a glass of milk. Why can't I get them together? It's freedom in that.
You know what? That's so random. Because last night when we drove with me and my buddy, we drove in from LA to here.
Mhm.
So we went to a casino to go get something to eat.
Mhm.
And I'm looking at the menu. I'm like, and when I tell you my meal was random, it's like I had iced coffee, I had wings, and I had toast. But it was fire though. And I'm like, this is mad. But I like bread. But look, it's like bread with the chicken, but then it's like sweet and savory. So it's like, okay,
Right.
you got a little bit of jelly, sourdough toast.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, it's like a broke down nigga Michelin star type snack. That.
The funny part is,
But I even told myself, I'm like, I challenged myself. I'm like, man, this is a match. But it's like, but what is match? It's like, okay, we get pairings and stuff like that. But look, when you go to like a smorgasbord or something like that, or okay, nobody says smorgasbord. When you go to a buffet,
I'm with you. I remember.
I'm feeling myself. It's like he's like pizza and a cupcake. It's like, all right, and you see these random pairings. It's like, and it's just I think that what that shows is just like, it's just exercising just the options of your interest, perhaps.
Yeah. But here's the thing, depending on as far as how Nico was saying, like your interests aren't even yours.
They're not, because we're programmed. That's the thing. Okay, you know what? I'm looking at it says, I wonder if KCC's play styles differences when it comes to John Coltrane versus Dizzy Gillespie or Fast Forward versus Domino. What they say styles makes fights. I don't think they make fights. I think that it makes things. I think it makes it's iron sharpening iron, and it makes things interesting. I've never been in a
Mm.
piano jam session or battle, but every other instrument has places where they battle, so that's why I asked. Now, you know what? It was funny. I was talking to somebody about this the other day. There was only one person, one time when I was really like coming for somebody's head. That was
Mm.
one time only. I was in high school
Mm.
and I was in jazz band. So I was in the 10th grade, and the other piano player in the jazz band, it was a Japanese kid named John Koyama, and John was a really good piano player, and I had my views on like how he played uh, jazz and stuff like that,
Mm.
but he was really technically a good player. And that summer, I said, I'm going to take his fucking head off, and I just wanted to just like destroy him. And that was the only time where I like every day I was up for like I was like writing like orchestrations. I was like it was crazy. I was like 15 years old, like writing these orchestrations and
Wow.
listening to these Jamie Aebersold records and listening to like Paul Bley and George Shearing and then Miles and Herbie and stuff like that and Wayne Shorter. And when I came back, I just wanted to kill him. And there was mayhem. But that's the
Really?
only time. Yeah. But that's the only time. That's the only time because it's like that's egotistical.
Yeah.
I think that what I do believe is this. I believe that we're supposed to be. I believe that we're supposed to be in awe of each other,
Mm.
and I believe that we can be. Um, I believe that we can be um, inspired by other people, but there's an old song. I don't know if you remember the old song by Steve Arrington, and he said, "Nobody can be you but you." And it's good to be inspired, but what makes you you? And that's what I
Yeah.
say. Have the courage to be courageous, but it's like figure out what your you is. And I think that when you're honestly you, it's no guarantee that people are going to really fuck with it or not. But
Right.
it's like
Yeah.
you got to be like, you know what? Like I have like a lot of music that I've written. I've got like a good 45 years worth of music that I've written. And I'm like, you know what? I'm trying for everybody to hear it. And a lot of this stuff is just little ideas, but they're all honestly me. So this is just me of just saying this is my this is my footprint of me being here. And these are just ideas and feelings that I had like random just shits from all over. It's like I don't it's like when you're creating it's like I don't know, and I think a lot of times when it's like really late at night, I think this to be true. When it's really super late at night and I would be in the studio and I would be like exhausted, so exhausted. Uh,
Oh, there you go. You froze up. Okay, there you go.
when you're in the studio or when you're so tired that your eyes are burning.
Yes. Yes.
I think that when you're creating, like when you're just doing that, when you're just playing, that's when your most honest you comes out
Mm.
because you're not thinking, like you're not trying, you're being, and you're
Yeah.
not judging it, and you're just like, you like you're just it's like you might just be and there's magic in that where you're not thinking And it sounds kind of existential, but it's like, I don't know if you know about this East Indian cat named Krishnamurti. Are you hip to him?
No, I'm not.
Yeah. So Zoe, over the cigar
Mm-hmm.
lounge, he
Yep.
turned me on to him. So sort of like, because I dig like thoughts of like metaphysical thinking and just thinking about stuff that I didn't grow up listening to in church. And it's not
Yeah.
to be like running away from Jesus, stuff like that. It
Right,
ain't
right,
like I'm
right,
doing
right.
that.
You
It's
just
just like
live a life exploring.
I'm just, you know what? Like I believe that when we're creating, we need to dance in the what if. It's just, well, the what if and the why not, and the what if
Yeah.
and the why not. Uh, that's where the magic is, and to not judge it. And so, like sometimes, like when we're talking about journaling,
Mm-hmm.
like just writing stuff down, no punctuation, no spell check, just literally just like word vomit out stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just letting it just like
Release. Yeah, for sure. Got to
just
release.
release, and then sometimes you can kind of like a prospector, when you're like, when you're prospecting and you got all these rocks and you shake the rocks and it sifts through, and
Yeah.
then you see like these nuggets. I think that's a lot of times when the magic really comes, when you're not trying. Like, I don't know if you remember, if you know who this guy is. You know who the actor, you know who John Cleese is?
I don't.
Okay, so John Cleese, oh gosh, you've seen him before. He did like Monty Python and stuff like that. John Cleese.
I know him. Yep. I know John Cleese. Yep. Oh, he's
Um,
hilarious. Yeah, he plays a lot of funny
yeah,
roles. Tell me,
yeah.
comedic. Yeah.
So like Faulty Towers, because that's one of the
Mm-hmm.
things I come to learn when I was on the road with Lenny. Like this was before us having like satellite. It's like you would have like VHS tapes and stuff like that. So we would watch like Mr. Bean and Faulty Towers and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but what he was talking about, he did these TED talks, and he was talking about playing, and he goes, you have to have time to play. And he goes, sometimes, it could take him about an hour and a half just to get to the point where you're just almost like being like it's almost like being in a mental place of being like in a flotation tank where you're just like, okay, the eyes are closed and you're
Mm-hmm.
just kind of like going. And I think it was either, I don't know if it was Tesla or either Tesla, or I think it was Isaac Newton or Einstein, but he would have a key in his hand, and he would just sit, and he would have his key in his hand,
Mm-hmm.
and he would just sit in the chair and just kind of like lay back and get to the point. And I'm trying to remember the name of this particular word, but just get to the point where you're almost falling asleep, and the key would drop, and they would hit the plate, and then he would like, okay, what is he thinking about right then?
Mm.
And because a lot of times, like when you're in that dream state, in
Yeah.
that theta state, like what Odu was saying, when you're in that state, that's when it almost seems like a cheat code, but that's when the things that almost seem like they're not you, that's really your most honest you coming back.
Mm.
You're just pulling back the
Yeah.
layers.
Yeah.
That's why I like when I took a DMT trip. It's like I kind of did that too.
I never did any psychedelics. Oh well, I don't know if you consider you would consider DMT a psychedelic
Oh, most definitely,
for sure. So I've
without question, without question. When shoes start laughing at you, that's a psychedelic.
right for sure, for sure. I've never done. I was talking to some friends of mine who they went on their first uh
Ayahuasca.
ayahuasca trip.
Yeah.
and I talked to another guy who I was Ubering one time. He was on his way to the Burning Man, and he's been to the Burning Man maybe 4 or 5 times. He goes all the time, and
Mm.
he's the one that put me on about the the Toad, um,
Right. Right.
right, which is a
Right.
form of DMT also, but the Toad is
Yes.
more powerful. I think I heard, you know, um, and he told me what a bad trip in ayahuasca, but he told me what the Toad was like a different kind of mind. Like his most powerful like breakthrough happened when he was doing that. The Toad,
Right. Like
and
I haven't had a breakthrough yet. I haven't had a breakthrough yet, but I remember when I did shrooms, and it wasn't things weren't pixelated, but I was hearing music in a way like I felt like I was like inside. I felt like I was really like
inside the music.
deeply woke. I would felt like I was inside of the music.
Wow,
And then
wow.
near the end of the trip, I said, I don't know why. I don't know. I said, this doesn't make any sense, but I said, I want to hear Billy Joel's Just the Way You Are. Why I wanted to hear that? And then I started listening to it. And man, when I started listening to those lyrics, I just felt it broke me.
You made me think of something saying that. You know, it was we. Anyway, I'll just say it. You know, Piano Man is one of my favorite songs of all time.
Da, 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 da. And, because it almost sounds, when you think about it, it almost sounds Gaelic in a way, you know?
Man,
Like, because you can almost hear, like, I could hear that reimagined, like, with like bagpipes. That's what it sounds like that.
mm,
It sounds like bagpipes and flutes to me.
yeah, yeah. It puts me in when I listen to that record. You know, you talk about close your eyes and go. I can see the whole scene.
Right.
Just the way he explains the room and talks about the different people in the room and the different characters. I literally, I can hear, I can. It's look, it's so real to me. I can almost smell like the beer, and I
Bro.
can see like the dirty walls and the old creaky crank door when you close it in back, and and
That's good writing, man.
that's good writing.
That's good
He
writing.
put me there.
But you know what though? But to me, that's what you do. And I think
Thank you. Wow.
that's what you do, and that's what people like what Kendrick does,
Yeah.
and like people who can really paint these vivid landscapes, and you're able to kind of take a trip to however the colors look like in your mind.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to oh, my man Black asked a question earlier. I thought it was an interesting question. Also, I want to see what you thought about it. He said, all right, oh, right here. He said, always was amazed that some people could play everything by ear without having none of the technical skills, right?
Yeah.
And I always thought like I always thought like that doesn't necessarily make you a savant. I don't know. You know, I'm kind of asking, like, because, but also, it doesn't make you genius either.
Well, you know what we talked about, because I don't really believe in the word genius too. So
Okay,
that's
okay,
like the whole that's
okay,
no no.
okay.
But I look at my uncle Andre.
Mhm,
Andre didn't read.
mhm.
He didn't read, and he didn't write. I mean, he knew his keys,
Yeah,
but he didn't read. But I really believe that, like I said, like I was really fortunate that I had what I call the left brain, right brain, excuse me, left brain, right brain upbringing, because it's like I grew up listening and playing classically, and playing Shannon and Shannon, Czerny and Hanon and
Mm.
Bach and Mozart and Grieg and all this stuff, and also playing in church by ear. And I
Yeah.
think the more tools you have, the more things that you can be able to pull from to help you to articulate things that you might want to do.
Ah.
And like I hear guys say, "Oh man, well, like I remember there was a time where I would listen to like church guys say, well, I don't want to learn how to read because that's going to take my feel away." And I'm like, you sound like an idiot. It's like it's not going to take it away. That's just a retarded. I mean, and I say that with love, but that's idiotic. That's stupid. It is. It's ignorant because it's like it's not going to take away. It's going to help you to art. It's like how can you articulate this magic? Like it's a reason why C feels a certain way and why D flat feels a certain way and
Yeah.
F feels a certain way and E flat feels a certain way and A flat feels a certain way. And to be able to articulate, well, this is this. Like I can I can drive by a church blindfolded and going by where the music is, I can listen to where they are in the service. I can tell
Wow.
by the sound selection, I can tell by the
Mhm.
keys, I can hear what I can hear where it is in the service.
Mm.
And dealing like with white churches, it's like it's a certain sort of it's a certain sort of it's a certain sort of blueprint that goes on. And then us as black folks, we've kind of adopted that sort of thing, like with the like praise and worship and CCM stuff like that. And
Mhm.
that's a whole thing in and of itself. But all that to say, the more you know, the more you know. That's like the stuff we talked about the other day. The more you know, the more that you can grab onto this. It's like, okay, so it's like when you watch like a cooking show and they said, okay, you've got, okay, we're gonna give you, all right, you've got you got jelly bellies, you got chorizo, you've got Gouda cheese, you got Cheetos, and you've got dark rye bread, and you got mustard and honey and arugula. All right.
Mm.
Seemingly things that don't match. What can you do to pull to make that together? And to
Yeah.
me, I call that as like the equivalent of that is like almost like scoring the is a Gouda without question. That's like scoring. That's like scoring. It's like, okay, what can I do? My singular interest in all of those things, how can I fuse my point of view and pull all of these things together in in a in a harmonious fashion
Right.
that can be interesting and satiating at the same time.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah. Yeah. My mind already thinking left anyway. So you got to go far, far to get away from where I be
Oh
thinking.
man, trust me. You know what? I'm 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 skipping rocks. I'm skimming because it's like I can go fathomless. Yeah, or
Did-
so I think. I don't know.
I want to ask you two questions.
Okay.
Greatest rap album of all times. Greatest jazz album of all times.
Wow. Greatest rap.
and so the greatest meaning your favorite. Your
Okay.
what you deem is the greatest to you.
Okay. For me, man, damn, that's hard. Mm. If I were to say, man, the greatest rap album for me, mm, I would say The Chronic for me.
Mm. Good pick.
And then the greatest jazz album for me. Ooh, I would say, oh my God. Um, I'm thinking, oh God, it's Jesus. Um, hmm, I'm trying to remember if Nefertiti, okay, Miles Davis. Um, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think. I'm blanking. But Nefertiti and Fall and Gingerbread Boys on there.
Mm,
Uh, uh, yeah, I think it's Nefertiti. Yeah, yeah. Kind of Blue is man. Kind of Blue is dope too.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Um, if you're gonna ask me, okay, who's my favorite pianist? Hands down for me, it's Art Tatum.
And you know, it's funny. I started looking up Art Tatum after watching Ray.
Man,
Not wait, was it Ray? I was watching. Yeah,
yeah.
Ray. Watching Ray. They talked about Art Tatum. That's why I started looking up Art Tatum.
To me, and I don't really like to use the word the goat, but when I listen to him, it's like I haven't heard he. Oh, oh my God, he's terrifying, and he's terrifying because he has so much facility, and he has so much soul, and he has so much information. Art Tatum, yeah, yeah, that's my
People
favorite
dropping in the
pianist.
comments. Matty Jazz say some kind of blue or Bitches Brew.
Bitches Brew, Miles, that's a cool album.
Mhm.
Um, if I were to say probably who is my favorite um like jazz composer who does like from electric side, I would say in third place for me, I would put Chick Corea, and I had a chance to play with him too. That's
Oh
crazy.
wow,
When I was 7, yeah, that's a whole nother story.
wow.
Yeah, yeah. In second place, I'll put Herbie Hancock. And for me,
Mm,
just as far as like composition,
yeah,
and then for me, number one for me, and I told you about him, this cat from Austria, Joe Zawinul from Weather Report. Like
hmm.
the way he put shit together, it just
I download that. I download the Essential album too.
bro, oh my God. That shit that's the kind of stuff that it's so smart and it's so soulful and it's so dense and it covers so much information. That's the kind of stuff that moves me. And then
Yeah,
yeah,
man. One more question before we wrap it up, man. I want to get this question because I thought it was interesting. My man James Blackout been asking some really cool questions today. He said, "Really, just use a MIDI controller and play chords. Is there any song that you play forward and backward and chordio arrangement that makes a song sound different?"
so when he says forward, man, man, that's a good well, that's a good question. So okay, okay, we just MIDI controller to play his chords. Is there any chord that you play forwards and backwards that makes it sound different? Yeah. Well, so I'll put it to you like this. So when you're playing, there's a thing there's ascending going up,
Mm-hmm.
descending going down, and then contrapuntal. So contrapuntal means where one hand is going up and the other
Mm-hmm.
hand is going down. So it's inverse. So
Okay,
up, down, contrapuntal.
that's too hard.
There have been times when I'll take a melody and it's really crazy and just like play it backwards because and that's retrograde. And so there's been like a lot of composers who will do that, who will take a like a 4 bar phrase
Mm-hmm.
and then reverse the phrase, and it makes it just it's such a great cheat code because it opens things up in a way that, um, yeah, it opens things up in a way that it touches on different, it touches on different parts of your brain
Mhm.
it touches on different synapses in your brain, I believe.
Is that when I say hard? I'm a viewer from the outside, so maybe I don't have the word for lack of better terms. Is that a hard thing to do?
Oh, yeah, it's very hard to do.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
I look, it's a skill like anything, but to be able to like to be able to play like phrases like instead of playing them ascending, but playing them backwards. So playing a phrase backwards, it just sounds different. And like depending on like where the rest and stuff are, like you might go da 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 da. So you might da 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 da. So you so da da da. So you might go da 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 da. Let me say da 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 da. So going
Mm,
backwards. So it could
yeah.
be da 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 da. You know what I'm saying? Up,
Yes.
down, back,
That
back.
is insane.
Yeah, it's
Do you? Is
nuts.
that something you do on the fly, or I mean, obviously, if you're if you're recording something, playing something specific, that's different. But if you're just playing, is that something someone would do as a skill kind of flex thing, on like a freestyle, kind of like a freestyle thing?
That's something where you have to, that's a skill that I have not mastered.
Hmm.
So, like anything, it can be done. It makes you really, really, it makes you really deliberate on what it is that you're saying. And what I'm saying, like when you're improvising, it's like you're not even necessarily, well, somebody said something to me. They said, improvising is composition done fast, and composition is improvising done slow.
Oh wow, I like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're like writing out lines, and then when you're reversing them, it's like you're being very deliberate about what it is that you're saying,
Hmm.
because you might have a thing that you're playing harmonically with that, but then when you play it backwards, it could be something. It'll turn into something completely different.
Wow,
Yeah.
man. Look, man. As you know,
We
you
got
and I
to
can
we got to
talk
do this again.
all day long. I would definitely love for us to do this again, um,
Yeah.
because see, this I wanted this conversation to go just like it went. I didn't
Right.
want a bunch of rehearsed questions and then you answer
No.
those questions and we keep move on. I love everything about even the technical difficulties, all that stuff
Yeah.
because it's real conversation. I love them. I love them. I mean, shout out to GFS Blackout and anybody else who had questions. Matty Jams who contributed with his thoughts on what his albums were, his favorite albums were. Um, Everybody in the chat that had something to say because it's like I'm trying to build a space where it's just conversation and then we learn something from each other.
Yeah.
Whether it's gems or we just have a good time, we laugh about some jokes. You told some great stories. We got to learn some things. Um, and talk about your experiences, which a
Yeah.
lot of us weren't fortunate enough to live these experiences. And it's pretty cool taking a ride with somebody who's been there, who was in a room one day
And
and
I'm
Michael walked up, or you know what I
man,
mean.
and I'm still living it.
And you still live in it.
I'm still living it. It ain't
That's,
stopped.
so that's why I
I'm
want to
still living
continue
it.
having these conversations. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
man.
why I appreciate this conversation. I appreciate you sitting the studio, studio 56, studio 54.
Man. No, 56. 56.
Oh,
That's what
56. Okay.
okay. Dom says Ahmad Jamal, Dommy Dom. Yeah. 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 Oh yeah, I got man. Okay, so quick Studio 56 story.
Okay. Okay.
So so me and my brother, so it was me, my brother. This is when we were doing Brandy. So that was like 90. God, we were there. Shit. 90. Wait, was that there in 92? In the 90s.
Mhm.
This is like when Brandy came out. And I remember we all had our rooms, and there was a guy that was working in the A room. And I remember like he had a whole huge box. Man, who was this guy, man? Oh, okay, I know who it is. Okay, that's my old boy.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I know, no, I know who it is. Hey, Matt, I'm gonna call you after I get off of this. I get off this. Matt hired me to work on the first Kenny Lattimore record.
Wow.
So me and his brother, we worked on Kenny Lattimore together.
That's awesome.
Okay, what story was I just telling?
Story Studio 56.
Okay. Oh, so there's this guy there, and he goes, "Hey," he goes, and I'm looking at him. He like this whole big box of cassettes, and
Mhm.
I'm looking at like how he's like sampling. So he's like sampling like out of an ASR 10. I said, "Dang!" I was like, "Wow, nobody uses an ASR 10." And I'm looking at him doing, and then he's sampling right out of the cassette, out of the like so like tip ring sleeve, out of the
Yeah.
cassette recorder, literally out of the cassette right the into the sampler, and then he's like, he goes, oh yeah, he goes, yeah, this song is going to come out, and he played me uh Coco's first song, um um Gosh, I'm topsy turvy. Oh God, can we get free tonight?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
heard
yeah,
that.
yeah,
I
yep,
heard
yep.
that. I
Wow.
remember hearing that in the studio before it came out, and I was like, "What the fuck is this motherfucker on?" I mean, it's like it's like it sounded so futuristic, but it was some nigga shit at the same time.
Yeah.
It was so unrecognizably recognizable.
Wow.
I was like, man,
Wow.
I got I got more stories. We'll tell more stories another day.
Man, like you said, look, first of all, I want you to enjoy your trip wherever you are in the world. I want you to enjoy your trip. And I appreciate your time today. I appreciate this
Man,
conversation.
man,
Um,
as
I,
you.
we have to have more
Yeah.
because there's so many stories, there's so many things, and there's so many, and keep it real with you, man. There's so many things I want to learn from you. Um, musically as far as like I said, I'm trying to get more into jazz, and I want to learn from somebody who loves jazz. I want to learn from somebody who it's just love. I say a lover of music in general. You know what I mean?
Because
And
I could turn you on to I could turn you on to some shit that you'll hear you will hear the knock and you'll hear the in it. I could play some classical music right now that will absolutely destroy your mind in the
and
greatest
classical as
way.
well, because
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
I'm tired of. I'm gonna say it. I'm tired of hip hop. I don't give up. I don't give up on hip hop. I'm just
Right,
tired. I need options.
right,
And
right.
I'm an R&B and gospel dude. You know what I mean? I
I
love
got
R&B.
you.
I love gospel, and I would love to get more into. Like I said, I want to get out of the generic jazz and into jazz. You know what
I
I
got you.
mean? So yeah, man. Thank you for dropping by, man. I want you to enjoy your trip. I love you, my good brother. I do want to have many more conversations with you. And when you get back down here,
Yes, sir.
we got to go back to
Yes,
Dro.
sir.
We got
Man,
we
man,
got to go back.
man. Hey, and for those, if you're interested, for those who are interested, follow me. I'm gonna be I post stuff and then I take it down. I kind of do like a refresh and stuff like that.
Mm.
But follow me. I'm on you can follow me on the gram. I Kenneth Crouch, I'm on the gram. And Uh, I'm thinking about like posting a lot more content on on YouTube as well. I'm just figuring out like what that looks like.
I got you. I got you. That part right there, we'll chop it up. I got you because
Okay.
I would love, absolutely love, for you to do some kind of content videos. I don't care if it's. Real quick. I have a guy named Joshua. That's my good partner, Joshua. Josh
Yeah.
Harbo. Um,
Okay.
Josh is a lover of jazz, but he's a lover of all kind of music. What he does every Friday, he just plays three different records. He collects records also. He plays three different records, maybe some new stuff he finds or just something he loves, and he just listens to music, play the song, sit there jam. He'll tell them what the artist is. He'll show a clip of the album, and he's just putting people on music. That's what he does. That's his content. That's his thing. He's a
Yeah.
photographer. He has a regular job also, but his content piece, that's his contribution to content creating. I love the fact that he does that. And I'm looking at somebody like yourself who, like I said, you have a wealth of knowledge who you can teach. Here's the thing too. Let me tell you something that's ill. With all the things you know and all the things you've done in your past experiences of just living life in general, not only could you talk about a lot of your experiences, love for jazz, love for classical, love for all these things that people would love to learn or hear from a Kenneth Crouch, you
Mm.
can also teach. Also, I'm not saying you.
Wow.
I'm not speaking of money grab, but
Right. I
there's
got you.
also on YouTube. There's tiered levels of memberships. You can have a membership thing for your private listeners or your people who want to be on that side, and
Yeah.
you can do a how I made such and such, how I
Mhm.
created such a or when I played with such and such, or how we created, or teach about the inverted thing you just taught me. Like there's things you can do with YouTube that's fulfilling. It's fulfilling
Right.
outside of all other things you do just for a
Right.
living, you know?
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
for us, guys like us, men, older men and black men, it's a release. It's a release. It's that to get stuff off you so we won't carry all the weight and shit that comes from being outside in America.
Yeah. You know what? Because the one thing that I really have come to understand from me, and I really like learned it like, once I became a Mason a couple of years ago,
Mhm.
is like I never thought that I would like join a fraternity, but to be around like-minded guys um who want to do for the community and to be doing things outside and beyond ourselves. Because once you really realize that, you know what, we're all just part of the ecosystem.
Yep.
And I keep saying that, and that sounds, I know that can sound like a buzz phrase, but when you really look at it, like really knowing that we're part of the ecosystem, it really lets us know that we are all interconnected and we're not myopic islands. We're not, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
And
like that.
I think that, but these kind of conversations, first of all, they need to know that about you. Well,
Mm.
first of all, they don't need to know anything, but I'm saying,
No, it's no.
but
It's
I
it's
think,
it's my responsibility
you know,
to.
because some people who might not hear me talk may only think music, may only think rapper, right? I'm
Yeah.
so much more than what I do. And
Sure.
I do
Sure.
many things, you
Right.
know. So
Right.
I would love for them to get a glimpse of the kind of conversation you and I have, or you and I have been having, and you and I've
Hey,
had here today. Because I
and
think
those and those
tons of
Porter and
people
those
feel
Porter
shit.
those Porter Ranch conversations.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. You know what
Man,
I'm saying. I think,
man.
I
Yeah.
think, man. I think this will be dope for you. I think it'll be a really cool thing to do, and like I said, a really cool release. And it's about building community and fellowship. And man, I think you love it. I really
Right
do.
on, man.
I really do.
Well, I appreciate you, bro. And yeah, let's keep the ball rolling, man.
We'll do. I'll
And
make sure I tap in with you
yeah.
when you get back. Like I said, man, we'll get up. We'll share a stick together, and
Yes.
we'll get up and got some more good conversation, and then we can do this again too. I would love to have another conversation with you, and and just chop it up, man, and just continue this thing of ours, and just keep going.
This thing of ours. Yeah, you're sounding very Luciano right now.
right. Man, Kenneth, man, a great time, man. Hope you have a safe trip, and
Thanks
I'll
so
be
much,
tapping in
man.
with you soon, my good brother. And like I said, we'll chop it up when you get back. And bless you, bro. I appreciate this,
Okay, be well. All
my
right,
man.
ciao, ciao. Peace.
Peace. Man. Yo, to everyone in the chat, man, I appreciate y'all. Yeah, man, this was dope. This is a dope conversation. Like I said, my man, Kenneth Crouch is an amazing human being, a ridiculously dope pianist, great musician, great producer, writer. Um, you know, just a dope dude. I'm glad that I was able to have this conversation with him. I'm glad that it wasn't solely music based conversation. We got to talk about some different things, and and I'm glad that, and shout out to all the people that ask questions, because y'all asked some questions I didn't even ask. I wouldn't even think about asking, and it got the conversation got real dope when you started talking about certain kind of jazz, the way to play certain things and stuff like that. That was really cool, and I learned something today. So it's just an awesome conversation. I want to continue having these kind of conversations as the weeks go by. I got a couple of dates set for a couple of other cool friends, and I just want to keep bringing these conversations to you. I don't want to make them corny and interview style like, but I just hope y'all keep logging on. I hope y'all keep liking and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed to my page, please subscribe to my page. Like the video if you haven't liked the video, and just keep showing up for your boy. And I'll keep showing up for y'all, because I do want to make this a thing. I want to keep having these dope conversations for y'all. And just like I said, good character, good community. Let's keep building, man. I'm out. Peace.